Shut up and sit down.
Oh, he disappeared.
Greetings, fellow Earth travelers. Obelix not here. Coming at you today from All the Mods 3 with Gnashrakh and Mirrusky. How y'all doing today?
We're doing fine. Worried about you.
Merry Christmas home.
Oh, he's
We
really
didn't believe that.
Like and subscribe. And like and subscribe on Santa.
Ow! Ow!
Santa's the best. Look at him.
Yeah, you've
That's
been
a good
nice.
festive. Yes.
With my fake blue beard.
Look at me.
Yes.
Look at me.
We can't. You're invisible.
I see your fart bubbles.
You do? Where are they?
Yes, I don't know. I just don't see them. Crap.
Like and subscribe. And don't forget to join your friends as we do by playing in.
And if you want to disappear like Obelix disappeared.
She's
Do it.
struggling on this one.
I'm struggling with crazy gaming. Oh, there you are. Oh, he's got an eye on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
What the
cool
crap?
looking eye.
That's sick.
Look down. Turn around and look down.
What?
Look at the floor.
Huh?
Oh, I see. Look at that. You see the mouse.
Oh, there.
Is it because you're near us?
It's because of the eyeball on my chest.
Oh, that is cool.
They're having a blast.
They're having a party. A
Having a
Christmas party.
It's a dead man's party.
And you're not invited.
It's a Christmas kind of like festive episode, kind of like not. Wow.
I can have one of those eyes on my eye wall.
You could use one of them, huh?
I just like that I'm watching you.
You
Yeah,
are.
I can see that because you can see your sick little eyes.
And if I put on armor, you can
That's
still
so
see it.
Wow.
Can I poke you in the eye? No.
That is the coolest. Oh, he's disappeared completely.
Disappeared.
Nice. Wow.
Now you can see through his
I
head.
can see his
There's
helmet.
nothing
You can
there.
see where
It's
all the
pretty much
madness
like-
comes from.
No. It's pretty much like always it is empty. Yeah. Empty head.
All right, stuff to do.
Nice. Well, we have stuff to do, things to do, people to see, places to go. Let's do this thingy. And I was talking about crazy gamer. Is it gamer? Not gaming, right? What did I? What is this? What?
Oh, crap. This means a lot of work for me.
Yes. You making up for last episode.
I've already done most of the work, you lazy bum.
Where are we off to?
I don't know.
The Invisible Man. Used to be a movie about called The Invisible Man.
You have a hole in your neck.
You
You know
know,
what,
it's
Nash?
one of those things.
Gnashrakh. If you see
where
through
the-
his head, you don't see me. Can you see me?
No,
No, huh? I
the
cannot see
evil
you.
comes from down here and it just bubbles up here through this hole into his brain. I see how it works now.
Yeah, now we know. Pattern creation. Holy smokes, he's moving faster than a speeding bullet. And before we see anything else, I just want to show my glasses once more. Are they not the cutest glasses?
Patterns.
Okay, so we are starting with environmental technology today.
Yes.
And it's a super powerful mod that can do mining and power generation, lots of different things. So to start with it, if you open up your JEI and type in environmental,
Uh-huh.
environmental.
You'll see there's not that many blocks.
Nope.
Let's start with the solar array controller. So we want to build a solar panel.
Solar array controller tier 1.
And if you look at that, it's made with some lapis and this green block that we haven't seen before. And if you look at litherite, and then you see it's made out of 9 litherite crystals.
Not in my. Mine says just. It doesn't really break it down to crystals.
It does if you go over.
Oh.
Over.
Yeah, see you're on page 1 of 2 and go over to 2 of 2.
Ah, there.
Actually,
And then if you click on the litherite crystal,
It's made out of block. No.
of
it's made of the stuff we know.
cactus green, lime green, diamonds, and flint. So we will need quite a bit of that stuff. So we probably want to make a pattern for it.
Ah, that's a great idea.
Luckily, I made a pattern grid and put some patterns in there.
Ah,
Yes.
here's the pattern grid.
So let's make a pattern for litherite and put it in one of these crafters up here.
Wonderful.
That is brilliant.
There.
Oops, sorry, I misspelled that.
So I have to remember this. No, I don't.
There you go. Who did that?
I did
Oh, you're brilliant.
one pattern. Yes.
All we need is one to make the pattern, I think.
And
That's for the crystals.
let's put it in the crafter.
There.
So 2 flint, 2 lime dye, or 4 flint, 2 lime dyes, 2 green dye, and 1 diamond. Now we have to think about all these different things, right? So we have to think, do we need to do anything to make diamonds? Well, no, we have diamonds. As long as we have them already, we're good. What about green dye? How do we make green dye?
Cactus.
Exactly. So it's not native. It's not something that's just already going to be existing, right? We got to process it. So we need to teach the system how to process green dye. Right? So when it decides it needs it, it will know how to make it. And we got to cook it. So we're going to need some form of a furnace, right? Preferably a powered one, so we don't have to load it with coal and stuff too. And then we're going to have to teach it that if we put a cactus in, we'll get a green dye out. That making sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we want a fairly quick furnace because we don't want to sit around and wait for 9,000 years because, we're lazy.
Yeah.
So let's...
Lazy or impatient?
Lazy.
probably something
think so?
like this guy up here that we're actually already using.
The speedy one.
Yeah. This is probably a really good choice. Though we don't necessarily need the one with 5 slots. We could probably get away with the one with 3 slots. Throw some upgrades in it, and it'll serve us well, I think.
You're talking about the smelt,
Mechanism smelting factory.
the advanced smelting factory?
So this is the advanced. The advanced one has 5. There's a basic smelting factory that has 3 slots instead of 5. Then there's an ultimate one that has 7 slots. So we can probably get away with the basic one. So you're going to have to make the regular furnace and then a basic factory.
Basic factory. Nash is really on it today, isn't he? He's really on the ball.
He's had caffeine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not puffing around.
And then we're going to need 8 speed upgrades and 8 power upgrades.
Ooh, maybe I can do that.
Those and no, why not?
Do you want the speed upgrades from any particular mod? Mechanism, maybe?
It has to be a mechanism.
Okay. 8 speed upgrades and 8 what
Maybe
else?
one of those.
Power upgrades.
Okay.
There. Basic smelting factory.
What?
And you said some upgrades for the smelting factory?
I think Mirrusky's working on those. But we will need some form of power.
Yeah.
And then we will need an importer from refined storage, as well as some cable from refined storage. Okay, Nash. Let's. Or somebody's got the. Yeah, you got the machine. Let's put it right in front of this guy. Notice the blue dot on it.
Yep.
The blue dot is the direction it is facing. It is the way it is going to shove stuff.
Ah.
And in fact, let's do this just to make life easy.
Oh, you took too many down.
We're going to put this guy here. And then I'm going to put this guy facing down into, if I can get it right, into him.
There you go. Ooh,
So he'll insert items from the top. So we need to, well, let's cut out a little bit of space back here. And we'll put... and I hope nobody thinks this is going to take one episode, because this is going to be more than one episode, probably. So let's put a power conduit on the back of that thing right there. Right there.
Yeah.
Power up our machine. And let's put upgrades in the machine. I think you have 8 and 8.
On the same machine, we put all of them?
8 speed and 8 energy, yep.
Okay. Where did they go? Oh.
Oh.
On the machine at the bottom, right? On the basic smelting factory?
Yep. Click on the, there's an up arrow that says upgrades on it. Click on that.
Got it.
Of course, if you had watched our episode, you would have saw this.
No,
It was
I
like the
didn't
second or
see
third
this.
episode. And
You
then,
know what?
yeah,
yes.
throw them in there and it'll all load.
Including my energy. Oh, they're not going in.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They are?
Now we can put in the energies.
Yeah, you can only do one at a time. One type at a time.
Oh, that's why. You guys, you just like to torture me.
See? Speed, energy.
Now, do you have that importer, Nash?
Yes, I do.
So, climb underneath the machine in that hole right there and slap it on its booty.
Right door?
There.
Slap that booty. Now, we need to run a cable up this side right here, connecting it up to the importer.
Because he's from Texas. Okay.
What?
For where?
Yep, now go up 2 blocks.
Oh,
Great.
there.
That just connects the importer, so it's online now.
Oh, to the crafter.
Nice.
Now, let's configure the smelter. So if you right-click it, and then you click on the little side config button in the top left up there.
Yep.
We want the top to be input. We want the bottom to be output. And we want to turn all the other ones off.
If I look at it, can I look at it while he's doing this? Okay, I am.
Look how she asks while she's doing it.
I do that all the time. You should
Input,
know me by now. You should not even expect to answer me.
Yes.
Hey, Mirrusky, you want to see my new toy?
No. Your toys hurt.
All configured?
Yep.
Excellente. So now we need to make a pattern that shows putting in cactus and getting out green. But we have to be a little careful. Right now, this crafter, or this pattern grid is set up for crafting like if it were in a crafting table. See how it's got the crafting table on one side and one output on the other side? Machines can have more than one output, so they're a little bit different.
Okay.
So see at the bottom down there, there's a checkbox that says processing.
Yep.
We want to click that. Notice it changes shape into two different crafting grids because a machine can have multiple outputs. So this is how you work with machines in refined storage. So anytime you're dealing with a machine, this is the pattern you have to make. Anytime you're dealing with a regular crafting grid recipe, you need to uncheck the processing button.
Okay.
That makes sense, Mirrusky?
Mirrusky.
Probably not. Okay.
What do you mean? It does make sense.
Okay. So now we're going to take one of these. If I could click it. There we go. We're going to take one. That's 64. We only want one. Nope. Nope. Go. Weird things are happening. Let's clear. There. We're going to take one cactus.
Yep.
And we're going to take one green dye. So we're just teaching the machine that if I put in a cactus to this machine, because we're processing, I will get out a green dye.
Yes.
Now, what you want to be careful of, if it's a machine that, like a sag mill, that if you put something in, you definitely get out something, but sometimes you get out other things. Don't put the sometimes other things on the list.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is when refined storage works, it's going to put, in this case, it's going to put a cactus in and it's going to wait until it gets a cactus green out. If it doesn't get a cactus green, it didn't finish the process. So if you tell it, if I crush gold, I might get platinum as well, it's going to sit there and wait until it gets platinum.
Okay.
Where platinum, you might only have a 10% chance of actually getting it.
Yeah.
So only tell it that you expect to get gold back, and it'll just keep on working. It'll still suck the platinum in. It's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just, it's a bonus item. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So we're going to create a pattern for that. And we're going to put that pattern into this crafter over here. The one pointing into the machine. It has to be the one pointing at the machine. If you put it in any of these others, it won't work.
Yeah. Okay.
So wherever that blue dot is working, that's where it's going to shove the item, because we told it it's a processing pattern.
So if it's not connected to the melter, it's not going to do anything with it.
Correct. And if you built a crafting table pattern instead, it's still going to fail.
Okay.
Because it won't tell it, take it into the crafter and then push it into the machine the dot's pointed to. Yes,
So
Mirrusky.
I see when I see that the only thing that I really see here is the already made green dye.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see the actual pattern per se. Only if I go
That's
over it.
what the pattern is for.
Right.
In the pattern, it says input one cactus and output one green dye.
Yep.
Yes.
And the pattern is the output. Cool.
So now if we come over to our machine here, well, let me go make a crafter so we can have one over here. Instead of having to go around the corner all the time, because I'm lazy.
We have to do one for gravel and flint too.
Exactly. Exactamundo. You got it.
And that would be a crusher?
There's different ways to do it, and what we want to do is find the way that is most efficient. So I'm all about efficiency. So there's a bunch of different machines that will make flint. Which machine makes the most flint or has the highest guarantee of flint? That's the one I like to use.
Probably the alloy.
I don't know how we do that.
Alloy smelter. I don't know.
Oop, that's too far back. Come back here.
Sag mill. Well, that was weird.
All right, so if I take the green out, we only have 82. I'll take all of them out. So right now we have no green. If you just type the word green, all you see is a green die with the word craft on it.
Yes.
So if you click on that, oh, one more thing we need to do before we do that. If you open up the smelting factory, the letter S, which is for auto sort, is currently off. Let's turn that on.
Oh, I see it at the bottom left.
If it wasn't on, it would accept 3 different things, but it would only accept 64 of one thing. If you turn it on, it will actually spread them out across all 3.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So it'll cook quicker. So let's click on green and just say like 32. You click on green, it's going to ask you how many would you like to cook?
Yep.
And you say 32, and it'll say, okay, to make 32 green dye, I'm going to need 32 cactus.
Yeah.
And then just say go.
Start.
And you see our factory is now smelting cactus. And you'll see those going into the system, and it's done.
32. Yeah.
I like that. This is one of my favorite things to do.
So,
Or to
yeah, super cool. So now let's look up flint and see what the best way to make flint is. Of course, I typed glint because apparently I want some glitter or something.
actually because I am.
So if I click on flint, I can see if we can make it in a crusher with you guaranteed 1 and a 50% chance of a second. If we use, we could use gunpowder in a mana pool. We could use a transmutation from Abyssal Craft and get anywhere from 2 to 6. We can use a squeezer and get 1 with a 50% chance at a second one. Same with a mechanical squeezer. Actually, if we use a mechanical squeezer and we squeeze gravel, we're guaranteed 2 flint. Then
Crusher makes 2.
yeah. Purification chambers 2. So I'd say a mechanical squeezer sounds pretty good. We actually have one down here that we're using already. Actually, it's up here. It's right here.
Wait, where did you go? I can't see it.
In the generator room. We have one over there. So let's make one of those. Squeezing like a boss. You never squeeze me, Gnashrakh. Why don't you ever squeeze me?
Squeeze me.
That's strange.
Mechanical squeezer.
Squeeze it.
Connect
Squeeze
that
it
to
on
one of
this.
these two.
Yeah, we'll have to turn one of these upside down as well. Or face it downwards. Like that.
And put it there.
And then we need an importer to suck the items in.
Oh.
And Mirrusky, I think you have the conduit. We'll need power to this guy as well. There it goes.
There.
Marvelous.
I've got the power.
Oh, you have has on every single time.
Yes, he does.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
There.
So now we need a pattern that says
We
one
don't
gravel.
need a cable up to that one.
You don't, because they're side by side. They went ahead and connected.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we need a pattern that says one gravel will get you 2 flint. But remember, we only work on the guarantees, not on the 50% ones. So this particular machine guaranteed 1 gravel, 2 flint.
We don't have gravel.
Because we're putting it in this big machine right here.
Exactly.
Look at the animation on this.
Right.
Squeezing. Put an orange in there. Look at oranges.
There.
Okay, so we've got a pattern here that says 1 gravel is 1 flint, but we wanted 2 flint.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. We wanted to.
So, whoa, hold up.
Can you change the patterns?
Take this pattern out.
Yeah.
Take it over to the pattern grid.
Yeah.
Put it in your inventory first. I think you can actually clear it in your inventory.
Can I?
In your crafting grid, your 2x2?
Nope.
It didn't clear? Okay. So if you take it, open the pattern grid, and you remove the 61 patterns that are left and just put it in there, in their place, yeah, now you can just overwrite it.
Okay.
And then just put the 61 back after you overwrite it.
Yeah. 1 gravel
64 gravel.
is. Yeah, I know. Taking out. Did that. Stop that.
I know, huh?
Why are you doing that? Clear. No, 2. There. Gravel 1. So 1 gravel is 2 flint. There. 1 gravel, 2 flint. There. There.
Got it?
Yes, that's perfect.
Excellente. Now, have it. I always like to have it processed after I do it to make sure I didn't screw something up. So, have it make like 64 flint or something.
So I have to take all of these out first.
No, you go into
No, you
the
don't.
other crafter.
No, if you-
go into this other one here.
Mirrusky? No,
Talk to me.
you don't. You didn't understand what he was trying to do. If you don't have to take out the other ones, you can put them back in.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, if you, I think it's shift click. No, what is it?
What?
Or center click or something like that will actually let you do it. One of them does it. I don't remember.
Huh?
I thought it was center click. That may just be on AE.
No, that makes lots of stuff happen, but not what I want to do. Crap.
I reorged my whole flipping inventory.
Yeah.
Did you do it too?
Yeah. The stuff's in the wrong place.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I might be mixing up my AE and my refined storage, so it may not be a thing.
Let's just take them out. There. Craft 4 of them. There. Start.
Something
Yes.
is
Well,
happening.
I wanted you to do more than that. That's why I said 64.
Okay. Oh, you want 64?
Yes.
So it's supposed to be there and it's supposed to be there, and those out. 64. Yes.
Now that it's running, if you look at this crafting monitor that I put down here on the floor,
Yeah.
you can actually see the job working. And if you so if by chance your pattern was wrong and you said one flint will get you or one gravel will get you 4 flint, and it's sitting here waiting because it never got enough flint, you can go cancel the job using this guy.
I see.
So it won't sit there and wait anymore, and then you can fix your pattern.
Okay.
So if anything ever gets bogged down, this is where you come check to see what's what. And you can see what, when you get really long crafting patterns with the whole bunch, it's going to a bunch of different machines and making a whole bunch of different things. This is where you come to see what you screwed up, like what one piece is missing that it needed, that it didn't have, that it should have had, that somebody else may have pulled out while you were crafting or something like that.
I see. I remember it since last time.
Yeah. But Mirrusky didn't know, so now she knows.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Because she doesn't watch our episodes.
This is true. She doesn't.
No, I don't know. I kept typing. You know how we typed the last pattern that we made? I typed the pattern. It came up, but for this one, when I typed flint, it didn't come up the pattern. What did I do wrong?
What?
Let's say I need flint, right? Isn't this
Yeah.
why we're doing this?
In the
So,
crafting room.
so what? Okay,
Because we have stacks of it.
right.
So if you go to on the second button down, sometimes an easier way to look at it. Right now it says display normal.
Yeah.
You can click on that and it'll say display no craftables. And then you click it again, it says display only craftables. And then you'll see just the things you have patterns for.
Okay.
Sometimes that helps.
It does help a lot.
Now, if I pull these out, Mirrusky, you will see, if you look at the word flint, type in flint.
Craft, now I see it.
So click on craft, and then it's going to ask you how many you want to make.
Yes.
So say like 32 or something.
Okay. 32.
And then say,
I need this part. Yes.
yeah, and it'll say 16 gravel, give you 32 flint.
Oh,
Then say go,
yes.
and you'll see the machine start to work, and you can see that job happening down here in this crafting monitor. You'll see it's processing. It's down to, it's got 10 more to process, 9 more to process. Make sense?
Yes. I just couldn't find the pattern in the grid. And that's what threw me.
Because there was already flint in the grid.
That's why. Okay, thank you guys.
So, what else do we need to make for this stupid thing?
Some more.
We're still trying to make
What's it called?
lithoranorite or some crap. Oh, we got to make lime dye. So, if we think about lime dye, that is green dye with bone meal. Right? So we got to think, okay, how do I make bone meal? Because the machine already knows how to make green dye. We've already taught it that. Now we got to teach it how to make bone meal. So that is a crafting table pattern. don't need a machine for that. Though a machine might actually be more efficient. We could check that. So if I look at bone meal...
1 bone makes 3 bone meal. Ordinary.
Yeah, and in a crusher from actually additions, it makes 6. So way more efficient. In a squeezer, it makes 6 guaranteed and another 4 with a 50% chance. So we may want to just use the crusher again. Since it's already stood up, we can already use it. Or I'm sorry, the mechanical squeezer, this guy.
Right.
So let's build a machine pattern for bone into, and we're only going to say 4 bone meal. I'm sorry, 6 bone meal.
6 bone meal.
So 1 bone will get you 6 bone meal.
Yeah.
6.
I have the pattern. In the crusher.
Or squeezer.
Squeezer, yeah. 1 bone, 6 bone meal.
1 bone equals 6.
So what if it makes more?
So what? We just have extra bone meal. So next time we go to run the pattern, we don't need... next time we go to make these lathanite crystals, we just don't need to make as much bone meal.
So the pattern says 6. So if it makes 7, does it stop?
If you tell it to make 6 and it makes 7, it's just going to import all 7 into the system.
Okay.
But if you tell it, it's like say you told it to make 10, there's a potential that the first one it processes could make 10. If it does, it will stop because it made the amount it needed to make. It has the amount it needs to move forward.
Okay.
So, yeah. Now, that's a little different between refined storage and applied energistics. Applied energistics actually pre-stores everything into a buffer. So it will already have loaded it. But refined storage processes on the fly. So it's a little different.
Okay. Ah, I see.
So now we need to do a crafting table recipe for green dye and bone meal to make lime dye.
Oh, yeah. So, green dye. What does it make? Bone meal. Makes 2. You have a more efficient way for that?
That's fine. I mean, we've already put the efficiencies on the front end. We really don't need to put them on the back end.
And that's the regular.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're not on processing mode. We want on regular mode. And we want to load it into one of these that's not pointed at a machine.
Green dye, bone meal, 2 lime dye. And that goes into the regular.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I like to do, and we talked about this a little on the first episode that we did Crafters, but we couldn't really do it, is when we make this litherite crystal, it's got to make a bunch of lime dye, right?
Yep.
If we put both of these patterns in the same crafting grid, that crafting grid can't do 2 things at once. So it's going to do one, then it's going to do the other. Then it's going to do one, then it's going to do the other. If we spread them out, they can work simultaneously.
I see.
So yeah, spreading things out as much as you can is better. Like in reality, if we could split up flint and bone meal into 2 mechanical squeezers, that would even be better.
Oh.
So, the more you can do, the better. But then you get more laggy, and because you're getting more machines, and there's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So, why don't we tell it to make 64 lanotherite, whatever stupid crystals?
What?
And we shouldn't have to tell it how to make all the little things along the way. We should just say, I want 64 Lathonite crystals, because it already knows how to make everything else. It'll just make it happen.
Whoa. Oh no, that's wrong. Sorry. There.
Litherite crystal shards. Crystals, I meant.
There. 64.
And in fact, we could put a pattern in there that says how to turn those into blocks, because I think we wanted blocks, didn't we?
Yeah.
So let's make a pattern to say 9 of those makes 1 block.
Well, actually
So
not.
really
because-
just make 9 crystals.
May I say something?
No.
Yep.
Each one of these patterns.
I said
makes
no.
4.
What's that, Mirrusky?
Each one of the patterns makes 4 of those crystals, so we can't just make 9.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. You'll just have an extra. Or a couple extra. Doesn't hurt anything.
No.
This makes 12.
Yeah, so if you were to say make 1 block, it would produce enough crystals to make that 1 block, and that means there would be some extra crystals it would just keep in the system.
Yeah. So if I make a block, then would that be processing?
No, because you would do that in a crafting grid.
Like that.
Like that.
Now, one
No,
thing
I'd
we
make
could
1.
do to actually even make it easier,
Mhm.
rather than processing how to make a block, we could just, if you had a compacting drawer and we set that as the default location for the crystals, it would auto make that into a block as well.
Oh,
Huh?
that will save. That will
So-
save us a lot of work.
Make a compacting drawer.
Don't we have any?
I don't know.
We might.
Compact drawer. Yay.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
in a second, not yet, I want you to put it on this block right here.
In a second. Yeah.
But, you ready?
Yeah.
No, you got to be facing this block, like ready to place it down.
Like anyway.
I would be,
Facing it.
yeah, stand there, face that way, and put it, when I tell you to, put it on that block. Because what I'm going to do
Okay.
is I'm going to try to get the key. There's stuff flowing into our system all the time.
Ah, yeah.
And because the priority is so high on this thing, it's going to try to dump Garbo in there that we don't want. So I'm going to try to key it right as you place it down so we don't get a bunch of Garbo in there.
I see.
Okay, ready? I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, go, and then on go, place it down.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Got it.
Yay. And put some crystals in there.
Yeah. And there you go. See how they'll automatically make blocks?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So if we go look in our storage system, we now have the heck is the name of the stupid thing?
Litherite.
Right.
Litherite block.
Yeah.
So now tell the system to make 64 litherite crystals.
Uh-huh. 64.
And tell it to go, assuming we have enough resources.
Yeah, we do. It's making
It's
blocks.
crafting that. It's making the dye.
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's done.
it had plenty of resources. Tell it to make 128. I want to see some machines working here.
He wants to see the real action.
And start.
There we go. Now everybody kicked on. Though it's already finished crushing everything it needed to crush.
Oh.
Right here we see it work. Nice.
And we're starting to see them flow in. Okay, with you putting them in as it's working, that's a problem.
Is it?
Yes.
Why?
It counts.
Ah, I told it to make and I put some in.
Yes. So it's like, oh, magic happened and I got enough.
Oh,
Magic.
okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
So, but that is the start of environmental tech. We have a long way to go in environmental tech. But we kind of got a crafting infrastructure set up now that will let us... I know there's a way to do this. There's got to be, without having to pull these stupid things out of here.
What was it we were making? Solar array?
This is kind of the basic block for building all the things in environmental tech. All the tier 1 machines are made from this block. And then you build the tier 1 machines, they go gather resources that you can't get in the world. So like the tier 1 machine will gather the resources to make a tier 2 machine. The tier 2 machine will gather the resources for a tier 3 machine. And so on and so forth. So this is just kind of the get started way.
I see.
But I do think that will do it for this episode.
Oh, yeah. Cool stuff.
It was
Really
really
interesting stuff.
very interesting.
You're crushing stuff.
Patterns.
Yeah, this is where it would be helpful if we had 2 of these. One for making bones and one for making flint.
Oh, yeah, it's one at a time.
Yeah, if you look at it, it says machines not accepting. Look at the crafting monitor. It says machines not accepting items to make the bone meal.
Oh, yeah.
Because the machine only has 1 slot. What we may do is, if we switch to mechanism, probably a crusher, we can do a factory that has multiple slots, and then it can accept both at the same time.
Oh, nice.
But, you know, we can play around with it and find the best way to do it later. But now we know the basics of it, which was the important part.
Exactly.
If somebody had his immersive engineering up and running, we could use that crusher, which is super cool looking, but nope, he's lazy.
Uh-oh. As long as he didn't say she.
It's bad, Santa.
Was I supposed to make something?
Bad Santa.
Bad Santa. Poor Gnashrakh.
We'll do this.
Well, thank you so much for guiding us through this so we can learn how to do this fantastic machine.
And
What am I
don't
supposed to
forget
make?
like and subscribe.
Ow, ow, oh, ow, oh, oh.
And we'll catch you guys in the next
Ran in front of it.
episode.
Isn't it amazing how he says that? Yeah. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.